The two objectives of this meeting are to develop a framework for community mapping for arts initiatives around the city. We also want to discuss the Manifesto and Ignite for 2008 and want to toss around some ideas and, again, come together around ways that it can benefit us and the youth that you work with and you guys as artists, us as artists.
Do you have the funding or resources that you need as an artist or an organization to do what it is you need to do? If you do not have the funding you need, please stand up. Wow, it's pretty depressing.
Who's doing what in the city? When are they doing it? How are they doing it? What kind of work are people doing? So we know who's doing what and how we can engage with each other, support each other more, and get involved in each other's work and really support the work that's going on.
I'd like to just maybe even expand on one, which I think is pretty relevant to a lot of our lives, is the online component. Creating an online kind of database or an information hub for which we can basically access who's doing what. We can learn more about funding. We can learn more about the organizations involved.
Someone needs to contact Dream now.
Okay.
Because we funded them to build the type of network that you're talking about.
An online hub.
That is accessible to youth initiatives, arts-based or otherwise, that describes what individuals, what organizations are doing, where they're doing it, when they're doing it.
As a hip-hop collective, as a culture, I think we need something like that. And things like this are a good start. People do want more from obviously than what we're getting at this point.
I think the problem is there's too many segmentations, so we need to find a way to organize this so that the real stuff stays in the real spots. Find a way to categorize everything, and I think that's the key way to make this work.
I think right now we're represented, but in its element, we have nothing that speaks for everybody.
How do we go about doing this? How do we do it on a larger scale in terms of actually mapping out what it is the community does?
Right about now, the reality is there's a lot of producers in the city, there's a lot of MCs in the city, there's a lot of artists in the city. But how many of us own our own venues or distribution companies or labels? You know, we need infrastructure because right now it's still other people that do not understand or respect or appreciate our culture that run that. There's no point in complaining about that situation because until we own our own things and run our own things and what have you, like until we have our own establishment, our own infrastructure like that, we got no right to complain.
Schools Without Borders, an organization that Manifesto works with really, really closely with, got approached to add an international component this year. So we're going to talk about that and then get some feedback on bringing in an international scope to this festival.
If we're promoting at home where these international artists are coming from, whether they're coming from Cuba, Ecuador, we're promoting them coming to Canada in their own countries, but then there should be that fair cultural exchange, that Canadian artists get to go there. So there needs to be dialogue with the promoter in those countries that our artists can now go there and rock the same stage with these guys and also be hosted by these guys.
Right.
I think that's a fair exchange and it could be economically viable for both parties.
There are those festivals out there. Schools Without Borders has those connections. It's all ready. Like that's the funny thing. A lot of it is just right there. It just has to be initiated.
Why not fly in artists and put them on a stage to battle the local artists, right? And do it that way, and go vice versa, sending them back out to their countries and get Canada on the map that way.
It's a positive exchange, even though it's a battle, at least we're not like shooting each other or fighting each other.
There's something really beautiful about hosting people. It changes the way that you speak about yourself or how you want to share a part of your culture, a part of the way you live. You start to see your city in a different way. We're trying to think of this as a way to galvanize people in Toronto to get super excited about hosting and sharing and really, putting Toronto on a world stage, but also getting to know everyone in our city a little better as well.
I just want to give one example of this. I just went to a youth symposium in Kingston, Jamaica, and I met leaders from all over the Caribbean. And so I started to ask everyone, what kind of funding structures do you guys have? Like, do you guys have grants? And we're so lucky. Like, people need to stand up and do something. You don't need a grant. People around the world do this because they just do it. So we all come around and we're saying, we need this grant, we need that grant. We maybe need that grant to make it bigger and better, but like do it out of love and it will come.
We don't have any blueprint, period. We're at a new level on one sense, but in another sense, we're still taking baby steps. One thing that everybody really needs to lock into their minds and hearts and souls is that we are literally making history. What we're trying to build, it isn't done anywhere. There's nothing like this. If they did this in Seattle or Los Angeles or New Orleans or New York, it would be different type of hip-hop energy, different artistic energy, different social culture on so many levels. Like I really want people to take into heart what unique everything we have here in Toronto and realize that as we keep walking forward.
By being in this room right now, I think we've all kind of agreed to come together. If we can simplify the process of trading what we have or working together in that sense, I think that would be a really amazing thing to accomplish.
We got to come together and realize that it's only us who can bring this type of foundation together that will make others respect us. And if we don't learn that, this is the type of unity that we need, we have nothing. So we have to look at each other in this room and realize that together we are the strength. Together, this is a resource that we have. We're each other's resources, and we have to know that and be that. So let's get this right and realize that we have the power to make change.